Hey, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jamie, and this will be a reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. If you're new to tarot, just know that not every reading is going to resonate. So if you feel like I'm wrong or this just isn't your reading, please just disregard it. Never try to make it fit. I'm also going to pull cards like King, Queen, Emperor, and Empress. Those cards describe a really specific personality, but have nothing to do with the sex or gender of the person being described. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to get more readings. If this is your reading, go ahead and give it a like. And I do also offer a membership if you want to check that out. You can just click join. It'll show you everything I do over there. Aries. So we have Enchanted Encounter. I'm surrounded by friends, family, animals, and nature. I connect with the world around me, and I am nurtured by these enchanted encounters. I am loved and accepted within my community. I am not alone. We have Teach, inspire others, and let nature be your greatest teacher. With Wedding, the situation involves marriage. The overall energy is the Eight of Wands. Supporting, we have the Eight of Cups, the Four of Swords, and Karma. The Queen of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Five of Swords. And at the bottom of the deck, Strength, Leo energy. A lot of you are looking at some of the, issues that some people around you may have. And it's like, they may be asking you, because it looks like to me that, for whoever I'm speaking to specifically, this is somebody who's married. That doesn't mean they're legally married. They could have just been with somebody for like ever. You know what I mean? And, people ask like, how do you find this? Or like, how did you get so lucky? And there's this knowledge that you have that other people don't, that, nobody's perfect. The true progression of marriage or staying with a person is about not giving up when you want to, not walking away when things are hard, not avoiding the serious issues when you do this. It stifles you. Either you're complying, you're becoming what someone else wants. There's no real identity there. If you're just becoming what someone else wants in a relationship, or what you feel that they want, instead of being yourself. There's something where you understand that, like, in order for two people to truly work, there has to be some independence. There has to be the ability to walk away whenever you want to. You can't feel stuck in a relationship, meaning like you can't be like financially stuck there, because when you're unhappy, you're unable to just leave. So it's about having the stability to leave whenever you want to and just choosing not to. You get what I'm saying? And like, you feel like a lot of people may need like relationship advice that is more positive than what's out here. You know, there's a lot of like toxic advice in the world. And it's usually coming from people that you feel may not really, maybe shouldn't even give advice because they're not in a state to give it. You know, it's like, it depends, you know, who the querent is, right? Like who's asking and like what they really want with their life, you know? So some of you feel like you should be giving relationship advice, but it has to be from this positive level of, this is how you make things actually work in a relationship, versus, you know, how to move on by yourself, or like most relationship advice these days surrounding like breakups that people would give is like, you know, be by yourself, you know, just be single for a while, figure yourself out. And it's like, okay, but what about after that? You know, like what really is going to get me to this stable relationship where things are really committed? And a lot of it is the choices in the partner who you really are choosing to do things with. And then after that, it's how you choose actively to show up. And that's how I see here. Like, you feel like a lot of people just sacrifice themselves. Like, they become something they don't want to be to, you know, fit the needs of someone else in the relationship. Or they forget who they are. There is no independence. Like, you know, like their whole status just is the relationship that they're in. So I see like there's, you know, you don't look at people negatively. You just feel like maybe they don't have the tools to understand relationships enough to get into one that would be, you know, truly valuable to them. And you know what? Today's world needs people like that, you know, that are just strong and like, hey, you know, this is what worked for me. Instead of, you know, just kind of going over like where things have just went wrong, like the positive things, the takeaway, the life lessons, and how to move forward from it and into something more positive. Maybe you feel like people have the advice up until that point, you know? I like it with the teach card here, though. Okay, so we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Magician, some Virgo, Gemini energy, the Three of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Six of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, there's something about people like specializing in endings, you know, and like what to do directly after something bad happens, but not really about life after that. I don't know if are you guys about to do tarot or, you know, like just give advice to people in a relationship sense or something? Because this is very like relationship oriented. And you feel like the way that I'm looking at it is very Aries like, where like an Aries would just look at you and be like, yo, this shit is just really not that tough. It's not that deep and it's not that tough. It's just not that, this is what you gotta do. It's kind of interesting. There's something about you know, your growth and evolution here, though, that's like where you can give this advice from, where it's like, you know, I've been in the knockdown, drag out, terrible ass relationship where you're just left depleted. I've, you know, made decisions surrounding my self-esteem based on how someone else was treating me. Like, I've done all of that, you know. But then there's also this other side, if you can get through it, where you can truly move on and into something more healthy. I think that somebody's looking into, like, I don't know, relationship counseling, life coaching, something like that here. But it's based off of, like, life lessons where, it's not even like feeling like people are stupid. I just feel like they've been through it and they've came out the other side and they feel like they could give solid advice. Most of it is based around a relationship. Somebody could have went through, like, I want to say, like, a really, really terrible breakup in the past, where they really went through, all the toxic motions in a relationship that you would see, like, I mean, we're at tarot, so all over the place today, versus, where you are today and what it truly took to get there. Like, the changes that people come to the tarot and they don't understand that, like, the changes that usually need to be made in a relationship are just oneself, how they show up, how they view things. Literally your perspective of what's happening is 90% of the relationship. Being able to actively listen to someone else and see what's wrong with them is a hard part that a lot of people don't have. But to give people those true skills, like, because again, they're learned behaviors, and just, I think, understand how to make things work in a manner that other people may not. So for a lot of you, yeah, you're looking maybe to do something like online, and I feel like it's very, like, relationship oriented. And I feel like it's like filling the gap. Like, if you were to be a tarot reader, you're the, like, after I'm no longer bitter over a relationship reader, like, okay, so this is where we move on, and this is how we do it, and this is how we do it right this time. It's just something like that. And this is like, maybe this is encouraging someone to do that, where it's like, if you're, like, see other people in a community and you really, like, empathize with the things that they're going through, and you're like, it's just not that hard, well, show them. This would be implying that might be something that you should be doing here. Okay. I will see you guys soon.